Okay, so it just clicked off. And then I was like, what in the hell? I had just cleared it the other day. And so I went on to look, and this video, I've been waiting for this video to download because it's been nothing but problems. It was going, and then all of a sudden it stopped. And so I don't know, while I was trying to figure out what was, going on with my phone, if somehow I messed it up, but it stopped. I had to start it over. Then it was going so slow, I started another one behind it, and it's already caught up. So I don't even know, but it still is going super slow. So, but it just stopped me right in the middle of talking. And so, there was some more stuff I was going to say. One of the things, she's going to get me wrong. One of the things, that I was going to say, or there's a few things I was going to say. Man, it's crazy how something like that just can disrupt your thought and just throw you for a minute. But my daughter is talking to me a lot now. And I was, in this awakening thing, I can see, because it is so much about you having to see yourself for yourself. And I don't know, like, her process or anything, and I'm not going to ask or anything, like, if somebody wants to share, but, that's up to them. It is, it could be really personal, because you do have to go through some really deep stuff sometimes to get to where you're going. But, sometimes you can feel so vulnerable, and, every single person's word stabs you like a knife. And so you begin to block off and wall yourself in. And then you cut yourself off, but you're cutting yourself off from the support. Instead of going in and questioning, like, why am I so wounded? What is wrong? Why do I feel like this? Is it rational? And is it healthy? Is this the best thing for me? And so, you block up all these walls, and it can be because you feel so attacked all the time. And it's a very vulnerable place to be when anybody can hurt you. And so, you wall yourself in, all of a sudden you find yourself alone and behind a wall that you don't know how to get out of. And so, I know the universe is giving everybody these opportunities to see things for themselves in their lives so that they can heal the things that are there. And so, she is talking and sharing some videos and stuff, and he looks like he's doing really good. So, and I'm so curious to see too, because so he does have light skin and tons of dark hair. Honey, you're fine. Tons and tons of dark hair. But all her other kids were born with tons of dark hair, and it all fell out and went blonde. And so then, he is born with a ton of dark hair and really light skin, but his mom said that was the same with him, and then he got darker as he got older. And so I didn't know about that, but I think I had heard that before with kids of different colors of skin, that it starts out lighter, but kind of darkens as you go, kind of just like blonde hair kind of darkens as you go or something, so I don't know. But it's curious now to see, because with the gene thing, because even with my sister, her and her kids, her husband was Armenian, and so he was dark and stuff. And so her kids, she's got one blonde, but still they have this like the facial structure, but she does have two darker haired ones, but not super dark. I mean, they definitely don't look very ethnic. I wouldn't think they look ethnic at all. So, I don't know. It's just something weird. And I'm sure it has something to do with our DNA and stuff. And there's something so much more to how all this is set up. And even to us. And this whole thing of mixing and then the not mixing, like, it's all experiment. Like, they hurt us and guide us. Okay, we want everybody to mix. Okay, we don't want anybody to mix. Okay, we want, you know what I mean? It's weird. And it's very directed. And, you can see how people are easily directed and easily moved. And even I really, when I see people, I've got the plant ICU back there with that light on, so it keeps shining. But, Even with people who just are like, I'm gay. I'm gay. I don't, nope, I only like this. I only like my same, my same gender. I don't like anybody else. Nobody else is attractive except for my own same gender. And how much that is so defining and restricting. At least somebody who is not saying, they're not saying a specific one, even if they're heterosexual, they're not saying, they're not narrowing it down or something. And, saying I'm attracted to this person, because so many people then all of a sudden say, oh, I thought I was, but then I found out I'm bisexual, because they have another step that they can take, and I don't know about gay people. I'm sure there's probably some that all of a sudden find themselves to be bisexual, but I really think that's the normal state of being, is not focused on what's on the outside. But, there's a whole focus to needing that structure for procreation. But I think other people are here to learn other aspects of love, and that we shouldn't deny or define anybody's learning process or what any other soul is here to go through. That is why it's not our place. And even if you want to get to the whole thing, you can go dark into the stuff about what these different souls come in. Like, there's people come in to play these parts of all these horrible things that go on. And but that's how much your soul knows that none of this is real. You would never go in and do it. Well, they're trying to play that game thing about, and that does, the stuff outrageous that is so absurd, that does get them talking, like they're all talking about that headset, it'll kill you if you die in the game and stuff. That world is really real to them, just like what I was saying earlier about, for us older people, we got to really live out there and see what freedom was all about, and independence. And I was just watching something, and it says something about independence or freedom or something. I don't remember, but it made me just see it so much more, like on this soul level of the going into sovereignty is so much just about this independence of spirit. Like, it's the micro macro of what we're working on in the country and stuff for freedom and independence, because it is so much on that conscious, the conscious ascension, awakening, progression, whatever, the evolving consciously. It is the same exact thing is what is happening for the whole collective on the whole globe and stuff. It's like that whole micro macro. And then, I'm seeing all of that stuff keep playing out in people's lives. And when people are going through so much stuff, see, I think that they are there to survive. They're there to push themselves into being more than what they thought that they were, because we all were so restricted in how we saw ourselves. And, we had to have something big happen so we could see the truth. And, but I just see how it all works together, like why and how all of the souls. But I was thinking about this, and I was even saying to my mom, but not on the same level, because she doesn't, even though she did that past life regression thing, and she saw it and she was just so amazed and stuff, then she just discounted that out, because the religious people are totally in denial of all this spiritual stuff. Even though they think the spiritual world is real, they're in total denial of it. It's like, even they have such control of them through this Bible, through the whole thing. They control their spiritual outlook, and so they cut them off. Like, you can't listen to anything outside of you, because that's demons trying to get your soul. You only listen to Jesus, and the only one who can tell you what Jesus says is the guy at the church. If you want to be in good standing with the church, you need to do what they say and give them money. It is, and, now it just goes and shows so much more about, the church was just like it's created by the crown to control us. Whoever the crown was at the time, it could have been anybody. There was always some emperor or somebody who somehow had gotten control of all the people. But the people are always the ones allowing it. And in this case, it's the people who are chasing this artificial world, and that is why it has to keep becoming worse and worse, like the absurdity behind what they are showing us, like your head can blow off in a game or something. That is, that's the absurdity where it was headed, and or the artificial consumerism that we were driven by and where it was headed, and that, like, how we're in that wave of energy. Like, I can even see it. It almost looks like how I was just seeing it, like a rainbow of energy, and then how it's going to flip back. Maybe when it flips back, that's when it turns purple. I don't know. There's so much to see. And then there's so much about it that is like metaphoric. Like, just because something is said in the physical doesn't mean we're going to experience it like physically. So far, I don't know. We got to see where this goes. And it's just so strange how there's just so many people who are not going to see this coming at all. And what I was saying earlier was like how much better I feel just getting that wood. So getting the wood, I went and got water. I got wood. And then yesterday, my neighbor gave me honey. It was seeming like the universe was just, like sitting there giving me gifts all day long. I couldn't believe it. And it was just so crazy. And so, I just kept being in gratitude, and I kept being so excited. And even last night when I came in, I've got this roaring fire, and I don't have to stress out. And I have been not using hardly any of my lights. I'm just sitting here crocheting. I ordered some more yarn, and I have no idea what's going to happen with Social Security this week. This is very curious because Joe had already said he wasn't going to pay it in November. In October, we were supposed to get this double payment, which that didn't happen. But November was supposed to be no payment. And then December is starting Joe Bucks or whatever. So, I don't know. It's just curious to see, is it more of just his wacky talk that they're going to promote? Or is it more of, because there's so much stuff that he says, and then in hindsight or whatever, people are like, oh, see, he told us, he said it right there. And so, that would be one of those. So I don't know. But at least the wood guy, he's not going to put pressure on me. And the other thing that I was going to pay out of this one, because I paid everything out of the first one that I thought could come up. Because of the second one, it was so iffy. And I thought the house payment would be the one to push out, especially because before they could even start foreclosing, I am positive the banks would crash. I mean, I was expecting it in 2020, and now it's almost 2023. And I mean, it's crashing all around. Other countries are already going on the gold standard. Like, I just think that from all the signs around us and all the stuff that people are seeing and having happen, I think that it's going to be I hope by the end of this month. I wish by the end of this weekend. I wish by Monday that they would freaking crash. I'm going to be so excited too, man. I know people are going to just freak out because it's going to be just piled on them, and they're already going to be going through so much stuff, and they're not going to be rationally thinking, and they're going to be fragile. Like, I would not at all start putting pressure on people and making people apologize or anything. Like, you gotta let them process. Because it's going to be so discombobulating for people's minds when it flips. But it really is like looking like, to me, what they were just showing me, it looked like this rainbow of all this like racetrack of colors and everything moving super fast, kind of like a Skittles commercial or something, and everything moving fast. And then all of a sudden it hits a dead end, and it all just goes straight up and over that energy. So kind of like the tsunami. But all that energy is going to flip back. And so if you've been putting out, jerk off energy and being an asshole, that is going to come back and hit you. And that is why we were already seeing, people putting out certain kinds of energy, and then it is coming back on them. And, and they're seeing it, because that is part of their process of awakening, and everything is about that. Everything is about like whatever you came in here to process about. And there was some other stuff that while I was getting ready to talk that I wanted to say some more stuff about, and I keep getting just super, super blank feeling. And the energy feels so weird. I feel like it's so excited, And I feel like, yeah, they were totally getting me ready for whatever, like with the wood and stuff. I couldn't believe the peace I found, because I couldn't believe when I had all that wood and then how fast it was going and going. And I was like, it was making, it just kept standing out to me and standing out to me. And I was like getting more and more nervous. So I was like, okay, I got to get some more wood. You know, what am I going to do? And that's when I was like looking. And I don't know how all of a sudden I thought to ask the neighbor for the guy's name. I don't even know. Sometimes I don't understand my own process, and that's something that's broken in me. But you know, I don't know. It's weird. They said my executive function, and then it is like it's discombobulated. Like I said, things don't like they don't have. Like, there's a road that doesn't attach them, and so it's kind of like these thought clouds or something. And sometimes I don't put them together all the way or right or whatever. That's one of the things. And then my memory. And then the other thing, I don't even know if they labeled it or diagnosed it or whatever they said. But the numbers, how numbers and time, and just whatever it is, my grasp on reality, where it started being like, at first, where I couldn't tell if I was dreaming or awake, and I couldn't tell if I had something happen or I had seen it in a movie. Like I was really, really confused. And that's how it's feeling again. It's feeling so much like that. And then I don't know if I had finished saying earlier about the footage of this White House thing, and it looked like a lot of action, and I hope that they're going to do some sort of thing, you know, that they're taking it over or whatever. Everything I keep seeing is like all these places are jailed off. I saw a thing the other day. They said DC is a complete ghost town. There's not no senator, nobody. And then they're digging all this up in these neighborhoods and stuff. And then if there's mass graves and stuff, and then who's owned these houses for all this time, like, man, we have a lot of stuff to go through, because every single city, like all of these different people who I see who are whistleblowers right now, they're all from state, like some just city, these city kind of like, you know, there was multiple groups in every city, and then they would go up, like they were all a spider web of this stuff. It wasn't just like a couple people at the top. This was like people running all the cities, running like the mayors and stuff, like the people who were in charge of stuff. That is, you know, that's why, like, when people would try and tell her anything, they'd go, and there would be judges. There would be the people who everybody respected. They're doing the dirty stuff. So then it's like, oh my God, where am I? I'm like, I'm in hell, because where's the good guys? You know, it was all the bad people have been like right out there. But they had us all focused on something else so we wouldn't see them. Because it's so crazy. Once you wake up and you see, it's everywhere. It is so much like that movie, that John Carpenter movie, I think called Them or something, where the guy would put on the glasses. And when he would put on the glasses, he could see through the subliminal messaging. And when he'd take them off, everything looked like regular. And then he'd put them on. And then even when he put them on, he could see some people, their shape-shifting being that was underneath. And so it really is like that. You really do see through people. You really do start seeing through the illusion and all of the stuff. And so then it is, you know, it changes the game. And that's the whole thing, is when people are asleep, they're playing the game without knowing they're playing the game. And when you wake up, then you see the rules, you see it's rigged, you know. And right now, I mean, basically all we can do is just keep trying to get everybody to wake up. And no matter what, they all will, because it's just what happened, like the universe, like they show me all the time. It's the energy. The energy's all going, it's gathering speed, it's gathering momentum, and it's going to hit a dead end and flip back. And that is the pole shift. That is the everything shifting directions. That is when everything will go in our favor, but it's not going to feel like that at first. Because it will feel like that for those of us who have been doing the work and of healing. And I think, people who've been listening to me who, get what I'm saying. There's people who listen who do not get what I'm saying, and that's clear. But, it's all in one's perception. It's all of what you can understand. Some things just don't make sense to some people because that's not in their understanding. But when you've been doing the work and you've been working on yourself and you've been being honest with yourself and you've been trying to heal and make your relationships better and being more mindful and taking care of yourself, then that energy will come back on you. You'll see more benefits. Everything will start going in that direction. It won't be as hard a fight. Like I said, it's not going to be like, when we've already been doing all of this cleansing and all that stuff, and all of a sudden there's all these chemicals infiltrating us, we're going to be like, so much better. And then the other people, they're going to just be getting their detoxing and trying to get healthier. And they're going to be stressed out with all the sickness and stuff, So, they don't realize, that we're all just being sprayed with Roundup every day, basically. They treat us like we're some invasive plant or something, So, but when that all flips, see, so many people are going to be having their own personal, destruction happening, that it is going to be, because so many people are going through things and it still hasn't clicked in. They're still fighting. They're still battling and stuff. They haven't gotten the whole surrender. It's all just to let it go. You got to let it all go. It is the end of all of it. And no matter what, just like, in this house, this could be what would this be? The third house that I lost. So I lost the one after the brain injury, then the divorce after my, the bottom of my bottom, and then that divorce and lose that house. And then we got a rental, lost that house. They sold it as soon as we moved in. And then this one, if they're going to destroy it. It's so crazy, too, when I was talking to the neighbor, about the wood. And she's like, we're going to build another wood shed. Or 2 big giant wood sheds that are full. But this is like, is it kind of that overstocking, the gluttony? Like, we got to put more. It is, there's a thing to that. It's out of balance when you are, I don't know. That's why I had a more limited thing. I was like, that was the first wood I bought, was the first woman I got wood from. She had way too much. The wood was going bad. And so she sold me some of her wood. And it was great wood. It was very dry, but, I guess at some point then it just burns up too fast. But anyways, so I don't know. Right now, I wouldn't think you need a third one. You've already got those, but I don't know. I don't know what your friends are telling you. But so when I was talking to them, then the trees, she started talking about the trees, all their dead trees that they're going to take down this spring. To me, it is like, oh my God, I that has got me so stressed. That is one of the big things why there's no freaking way I'm going to stay living here. That will completely expose me. That's not what I want. I want more privacy. I don't want to sit in the middle of a neighborhood and be exposed and listen to everybody's noise all day long. And whatever is going on with the dome closing in on us or whatever, it is so freaking loud. When a plane goes over now, it is so loud. I can't even believe it. It is so much like some crazy, wacky movie. It is so weird. Because I would think people would come out of their houses for how loud it is to look up and see is something about to crash. And it is nothing like that. And then when she was just like, well, we're going to take down the trees and blah, blah, blah. And I think we're going to take down some more, even if they're not dead and all that. And I'm just like, oh my God. We just want to be out there just bare, And I was like, oh my God. And besides the fact that I have a relationship with the trees, like I'm out there hugging them and petting them and stuff, like trying to give them sympathy and empathy, and this is horrible to me. And then there's like, yeah, we're just gonna cut them down, and that's what I keep saying. They're all just, they have such a different way of looking at things, and I don't know what has to happen in this area that is there's going to be something significant that is going to happen. I just cannot see in any way, like everything that happens, and they all just still stay like, You know, we're just going to cut down more trees. We're just, you know, like, who cares about anything, you know, like, who cares about the world or the planet we live on? I just got to go to work so I can buy some more things. You know, that was the other thing, too. So this bench I had made, you know, before I got these chairs at the thrift store for $1. But when I had made that bench that was the seating before, I had plants on it over here. But, you know, Stella's bed, it's huge. And so, and my place is small, which I figure I'm probably legit living in a probably 275 square foot mostly, because I'm not going in the other bedrooms unless it's like to change clothes or get clothes out. It's not like I'm living back there. I could literally close the doors and let it be super cold back there and get more warmer out here. And then I have to go down to the bathroom, and that is a tiny little room. And then the kitchen, but I'm not just hanging in the kitchen unless it's a day I'm cooking. Mostly it's just right here next to the fireplace. I made my little bed right here. So it's just this little area next to the wood stove. We're just sitting here all cozy. Like, I do feel like it's like hibernation. Just all hibernated in for, because we're being hit so hard with the cold. I can't even believe how frigid it is. There is no way. And there's so many homeless people over here. I don't see how. Yeah, I mean, you would freeze to death. One of my friend, or the grandma of my other grandkids, one of the grandmas, there's a couple different ones, but one of the grandmas, the Indian one, she, that I said about their family had a lot of deaths all related to drugs and alcohol and stuff. And the one brother who was murdered, when they put her under for the hypnosis, he told who murdered him. And then she was so mad that I didn't write it down. I swear I thought she was playing. I didn't know she was real. She was deep, man. She was saying all sorts of stuff. I thought she was joking. And she was the first one I think I ever did. But anyways, so she, he was, whatever somebody did, I think they hit him or something while they were outside, and then left him. And it was a particularly cold winter in Spokane, and he was knocked out outside, and he died. He froze to death. And, you know, it's going to be happening. Or it's got to be like, they've got to go out there with the street cleaners or something and clean up. I couldn't even believe somebody would be like, going to go to Seattle for the weekend. Oh my God. You really got to look at some footage of these cities if you think it's anything like it was. Like, there's no Pikes Peak. There is no shopping. There's no restaurants. I'm not at all surprised that you go and there's a weirdo guy sleeping on his couch letting you come in with no locks anywhere. And then a box of sex toys. Like, what in the hell? Like, the part that's going down is going down, down, down. You know, it is a separation of the dark and the light. You can see is the people who are going to be holding on to crime and, you know, perversion and stuff. They're going to go down with the ship. You know, it's one thing that when it was a part of people's life, but that is a big thing for people to face. People who, you know, had certain addictions and stuff, and they have to face that, and they have to look at, like, why was I like that? You know, why was I an addict? Why was I this way? And it's a lot of work to get on to yourself. And the people who haven't been doing the work, who have just been, you know, living and trying to go, and their roadblocks aren't stopping them. The obstacles are not putting them in another direction, and they keep heading for the wall. Then that is going to be when that is going to flip back on them, and they're going to have to face, like, you know, like, I can't believe I was making my kid. The big one to me that I think, all of them are going to be big, but you know, like the school thing, the people who keep putting their kids in school and keep pushing that energy, and then, you know, like, when it all comes back and they see, like, you know, the whole thing is about the independence. It's about the sovereignty. You're being dependent on a system. You're depending on them to educate your children. And you think somehow you have a say over anything. You got to look further into the agenda of what is going on here. And it is so much more deep than what people even are even close to understanding. I mean, we're being vetted from the time we enter school. We're being vetted, I think, from the time we're born. I think that they put us into a computer and it tells them, the likelihood of blah, blah, blah. And, then there is the whole thing. We've got handlers handling us all, doing the business of, a lot of words were coming into my head. But desegregation, segregation, control, manipulation, like they're directing us, telling us if we're a loser, telling us if we're never going to make it in this world, and creating hopeless and helpless of people who already feel defeated. It takes a lot of resilience. It takes a lot of self-empowerment to push through what they are trying to put you into. And they're just wanting to hold you back and just create a patient out of you, That's all they care about is making money off of you. It's just as mind-blowing that the great minds of this planet and how many of them turn to the evil and how some of these evil people are so far more evil than any evil. I don't watch a lot of superhero movies, but I've seen a couple. And how many of them have these evil scientists, and, we were living with ones that are so much worse, like worse than the ones that we thought were the worst. And these people are horrible. Like, some of these people have killed billions of people, I think. Like, when you think about, the fraud starting out decades ago, all his fingers, all his tentacles, of all his disease and all his ways of transmission, like everything that he has come up with and all the different things he's combined and how it's affected different people. Like, man, that's crazy. And I think I already told y'all that, I don't know if I was telling Mom or I did tell y'all, but that guy who did that video about Ancestry.com, you can look it up, I guess, and they're saying that Gator was put to the end for crimes against the people of that place. And it was India or Africa. When I had seen the Sahara News, I had already seen that he was wanted there. But, he's already put down in India, but like all the way to 2013. Like, when did all this stuff go on? When was he injecting all these people? Like, did they do this like 15 years ago and then they saved the footage to show us when they were preparing us all for, look at how much we're doing so great over here helping all these people. It was just kept for the campaign of trust them. They're so good. They're going and helping the poor, not getting anything back for it. Yeah, right. Man, I don't know. To me, I don't know. All I see is that, it's going to take a lot to wake some of these people up, especially around me. And, I just expect anything can go down. And this could be my next house to lose. And I know no matter what, I'll start over. And I know no matter what I've learned through all this is I don't need very much, for where I was when I was younger and thinking I needed more and more and more. And then you get to a certain point, it's like, I don't really need very much. I mean, I think once we get through this stuff, I don't think people are going to have TVs all over the place. They're not going to have them in every room. There may be some room where people have them for the nostalgia of being able to go in and watch movies, because we all still, there's multiple generations that still, think of that as being a family gathering entertainment. But a lot of people still have to go through the process. There's so many people who can't watch anything. There was a period of time I could not stand, and I still, to watch stuff, that's all I see is, that's been in our face the whole time. And it's absurd. It's obnoxious how much it's in our face. And, but I still run across things that are very entertaining. I do tend to stick with older movies over newer movies, because they just became so much more, because it was part of, like, the awakening started a while ago. It just took us so much to catch up. You know, and I guess this whole thing now is starting with the DeSantis and Trump situation now. They're going to pair them against each other. Like, yeah, if people can't see, like, the person who is trying to promote freedom, they're going to, now they're going to run somebody else up against him. Like, they don't want us to be free, you know, and what this guy has to do to try and get people to even realize that. And man, what it takes to have people break away from the medical, the education, and being governed. You know, it's just crazy because I can see through, you know, I just see through so much of it. But I just now, I just see, of course, I want to be able to keep my stuff. I want to be able to keep this place. Even if I end up having to cut down some trees, you know, I'll fix it up to be like places where people can camp and stuff. I'll just fix it like a traveling place like I've always intended and get it finished. And so people can come and enjoy this area because there is so much to see. It is a beautiful place, but, you know, we don't even know what the landscape is going to be soon. My whole place could be gone. You know, they can do a mud flood, and they've got so many dead trees. I mean, I'll take it down. And I don't know all of the routes. Like, I can't imagine, you know, Mount Baker being able to get all the way over here. But I've seen so many places where they clear cut. And then, you know, now I'm looking at it much different, where I'm looking at like how they clear cut it and how that's like on the edge of this mountain and how that would just fall straight down on all that little town right there. Like, yeah, you know, I think it's intentional, you know, and we weren't noticing that they were, you know, setting us up for what was to come. You know, it was like a reset was always going to come. And I know it feels like, you know, this is all flesh and blood and they're out to get us and stuff like that. But really, we just got to keep thinking like this is a movie. We're playing a part and it's the bad guys versus good guys. And, you know, and we're going to overcome. We're going to win. But, you know, people who have Airbnbs that are nasty and tell people to come there and rent a room and then don't give them privacy and then have, you know, a box of stuff like that in there. Like, what in the hell? That's private stuff. You won't leave it out there like that unless you're trying to, I don't know. And then, you know, who in the hell could go to sleep? You have to scoot the bed up against the door so nobody could come in. Like, that would be, I couldn't, there's no way I could go in some house like that and just go in and go to sleep. I'm one of those people who has that horrible fear of waking up, of someone's face just being right there staring at you. That to me is like the nightmare of nightmares. That's why I don't know how people handle not having a dog. A dog totally alerts you to every little sound. Stella can hear. One day, I mean, she keeps jumping up and barking at things on the ceiling and looking down the hall, all sorts of stuff, and sitting barking. The other day, she started barking, and so I stop everything. You know, I'm trying to listen. And there were dogs barking that were so far, and I could hear them. And she started barking back to them. Like, it's so crazy that we have these incredible creatures around us that are so paying attention. They can communicate and protect us all without people even knowing. And another thing that I think is weird is like all this, there's so much talk about this weird stuff in the schools, like letting people go and be kittens and dogs and stuff in school. Like, it is so ridiculous. I can't even get over it. But, you know, and then saying how they have to treat them a certain way and stuff like that. You're talking about people need to treat kids that think they're animals better than we treat animals. Like, if you want them to be animals, show them how people really treat animals. Otherwise you're teaching them that they're an animal or they're a human with a psychosis, and you're playing along. It's like mental. I don't understand it at all. But it's outrageous how people treat animals, and then they're going to go and, you know, pretend like they're animals and demand to be treated a certain way. It's like, what in the hell? I don't know. Yeah, there to me is so much absurdity. Like litter boxes in the bathroom. That was why before where I was saying, like, God, we got to live in a time where we were free. And there wasn't so many, you know, trying to define. There wasn't all this stuff. There was weird stuff, but it was just not, like, you couldn't walk up to a car if a man pulled up and asked you for directions. But like, it only took 1 or 2 people to have that happen, and we all told each other, don't go up to the car. There's weirdos out there, you know. But I mean, for the most part, we got to go out and experience like hitchhiking and talking to strangers and meeting people and running in crowds of kids and not having any parents watching over you and doing dangerous stuff. And like, we got to go and have so many more experiences. And I don't know. Kids are just so restricted, and there's a reason why they're depressed, because your soul wants to go and do what we got to do. That's true freedom. That's really experience. And now it's to this point where it's, to me, is like highlighted so extremely. Like you see a 4-year-old coming home screaming because you got to get your work day in, and coming home at 4:15 in the afternoon, screaming her head off. And it's like, well, what we've done to kids, you know, and thinking that we're doing something good for them. That's what I'm saying. That these generations who think they're just so progressive, they're going to find out that we're not progressive at all. They're very destructive, very controlled. And I don't know why deliberate's going in my head about deliberate, but very controlled. And, you know, they want everything. You know, they want to set everybody's rules too. And they're very judgmental. They don't realize how judgmental they are. So there is just so many things that a lot of people are going to be processing that are hard things. But the people who have been doing the work see that this is going to be, that energy coming back is going to, you know, if you've been taking care of yourself, all of a sudden everything is going to be just going so much better. Everything is just going to go way better. So, you know, no matter what, just keep staying with taking care of yourself. You know, even in the darkest of times, that's what I think. Like, even if I was, to me, I always, my thing, I'm always is Anne Frank. And then I have some black guy in Solitary. I'm not sure who he is, but he's my reference. I'm always like, that guy doesn't give up. He's down on the floor doing push-ups, man. He didn't give up. Anne Frank, she didn't give up. Like, even in Solitary on death row, you know, he's still down there. He's going to still take care of himself. And then this Anne Frank, you know, she didn't give up and just be like, you know, there's no hope. This is not living. She continued to figure out, like, to just, you know, be molded into what she could identify as living in a completely alternate reality, you know. Everything changed. And, you know, how do you change? How can you shift as things shift? And there's so many people who are so contained and controlled. So any of your people who you see who are having problems, be thankful, because that's the universe giving them opportunities to prepare and to, you know, work on themselves. And, you know, the working on yourself is what is leading us into the new thing. The ones I'm always wondering about is the ones who are like, I don't see anything past January or past December or whatever. You know, all these ones that are planning on leaving. Like, I don't know. I guess we'll just see. But, you know, I just hope that as soon as the banks crash, I swear, for those of us who have been waiting for this and are prepared and been doing our work and stuff, see, we're going to be ready as soon as they redo. I mean, there may even be a point where things are so cheap, you know, and to go buy 5 acres will, you know, be like $1,000. And if you have a silver and it all of a sudden goes up and you have $1,000 an ounce, you know, you go buy a farm and then you get some wood or whatever and start building your place. And to me, is the work is what makes it fun. Building and creating and doing things. That is what life is all about. It's not, you know, going to work and being in drama and always feeling like you're just on a hamster wheel chasing something that you can never get to. You know, when you're doing stuff for yourself and you're building and creating and making your own world and your own life, you do see the accomplishment. Even if it is that I'm going to end up losing this one after I've built it and stuff, I still got to enjoy it through this. Even if other people didn't get to come and enjoy it, you know. Even though they've told me and they still keep, you know, build it and they will come. And, you know, even if I do have to have a bunch of trees taken down, I guess, to me it looks like all my trees are dead. Like, I don't know if I have any that are alive. Oh my God, something flew up my nose. Probably some kind of, what that word is. They've got all these things flying around, trying to make sure they get it all inside of us. That is what I just don't get. The extreme measures that they will go to try and wipe us all out because they're losing. And like, why won't you just let us go? But, it's part of the movie. It's part of the game. So anyways, I do think that there could be that point when everything crashes and everything changes for us, opens up, but there's going to be a huge group of people who are just like, completely discombobulated, don't even know up and down and what's right and left, and feeling empty and unsure of what life is even all about. And then those of us who have been doing the work and getting ready and stuff, when all that stuff opens up, see, we'll be ready. We'll be already, building our little places and, becoming leaders in communities, showing people the way of how to build and there's going to be people who understand about how to create some sort of bartering or money system, and it can be local. It doesn't have to be where everything is this whole thing. There's going to be a global federal thing, but I mean, community-wise, depending on the size of communities, there can be all sorts of ways that things are set up. It's up to us to create that. It's up to us to figure out what works. And there is going to be people who are going to be the leaders through this, the ones who have been, seeing clearly and not just panicking. Like my mom is like, for sure, like, we're not headed to anything good. Every person who I know who is religious thinks we're not headed to anywhere good. People who, I don't know about these other new spiritual people. I don't know what the hell they say. I just know that for those old spiritual people from the age of Aquarius back in the day, we know that this is the age of Aquarius. We know what the age of Aquarius is all about. And, when you go into more broader perspectives, start understanding the cycles of life, the cycles of the planet and stuff like that, the ages and the changing of the ages, and you understand about life and death and reincarnation and all that stuff, like things make so much more sense. There's a lot of stuff you got to wake up to get to that point of understanding all of that stuff. But yeah, I mean, I feel bad that they all think like this is the end. I mean, my mom's convinced, and it's like, she doesn't understand when I say it's the end of these times. It's not the end of it's not the end of all time. It's not the end of all life. It's the end of these times. This time, this era, this time is over. And it's going out with a big old bang. So, but, that's what I'm saying. Like, until people understand, they can't understand. They just hear you saying, no, it's the end of time. Okay, they think you're sounding like you're talking crazy hogwash talk. Like, okay, that sounds just like weird. I don't know what you're talking about. But that's why I'm always saying you got to just keep opening yourself up. Keep looking into things and looking into things. The more you look into, the more things unfold. The more things start to make sense. So anyways, I keep talking so much. Oh my God, yesterday when I was talking to my mom, I felt like my throat was bleeding. Even when I did that 3.5 hour live thing, oh my God, I felt like my throat was bleeding. And I've been doing a lot of honey. Oh my gosh. And the neighbor who gave me those jars of honey, it is like really, really pure honey. Like you have to use a spoon it's really good. So I'm so excited about that. And the best thing about it is the antioxidants or all of that stuff that is good for us. So I think I'll have another cup of tea right now. And I got some chamomile, and I'm making my oregano oil. And I'm going to get some more rosemary. I think I'm going to do a rosemary oil. There's so many benefits to all of that stuff, and people who have gotten into that, who were, driven to really look into that or understand about, financing, or understand about food, or understand about agriculture, or understand about herbs, like all those things that their soul was leading them to do. And they focused on what their soul was telling them. They are going to have all that energy come back. All will come back to them as an abundance, or everybody recognizing how important they are to their community. However it's going to go, that energy will come back to put them into a better position. And there's going to be tons of people for, you know, for healing, because there's going to be so many people who are going to be healing. So there's going to be tons of people who are going to be, you know, helping people. It's really going to come down to, like, you know, half the people are going to seem like they're in complete mental collapse. And, you know, we're going to all have to have a lot of compassion, you know, for, you know, our experience for being awake through it is going to be different from their experience of waking up in it or after it. For us to wake up and get to process and see, you know, we have a different perspective, and, you know, we had to go through, like, oh my God, and being mad at them and being mad, you know, like, how do we live through this? You know, theirs is going to be different. Theirs is going to be as intense as ours, as frustrating, as hard as it's been for all of us awake who've gone through this. Is going to be as hard on them. It's just going to be like the other side of the coin. So they're going to experience the other side. Then when we come together, we get both stories. You know, we get both sides of the coin. So, you know, we get a broader perspective as the collective of the experience. But everything will keep continuing to come down to unity, 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 love and unity, acceptance. Because that will be when you hit that block that you cannot accept somebody, or you're holding yourself back because you can't overcome an obstacle, that you're being judgmental or hard on somebody else. That will be the things that hold you back. You know, that you have to go in and learn more lessons from that. You know, you have to go into the library and read the book, or, you know, download the, you know, that's the Akashic records, the library of all things, and all the things that they're all the experience to go through so that you can learn. That is so fascinating too. When you think about, like, every cell in our body had its own being, its own knowing, its own knowledge, its own everything, because that's what we are. We're cells of this whole entire spectrum of light of the universe. You know, I don't know. I find it fascinating. So, anyways, you know, all I'm going to say is that, you know, we don't know when it's going to go down. It's coming so close. I don't know. I feel so weird. Like that whole thing with the despair, and then that whole thing of them, you know, the wood thing, and then it coming so easy. Last year, I went through so many problems with wood, never even got wood. And then all of a sudden, it was like, boom. And it was so cheap, and it was so much, and I already got it all put up. And, I mean, so many things. Just like when I went to get water, how it just seemed like there was all this movement, all this chaos. Like everything is building, and I can feel it. That we're going into that crash. Who knows what the crash is going to be? I don't know if I'm going to lose everything. You know, I hope not, but I'm prepared. I've let go of, you know, we got to let go of what isn't real. And everything around us is not real. And when we hold on to it, it is holding on to that thing. The holding on to the thing is the holding on. It is the putting our energy into something that doesn't even really exist, but we're focusing our energy on it. You know, like laser focus our energy on something that isn't real. So we take our focus off of ourselves. So anyways, I know some people understand what I'm saying. So anyways, take care. And, you know, I'll keep coming as long as I have power. I'm assuming at this point that my other one has finished downloading, but I don't know. Yeah, I mean, some days I'm shocked how long it takes. Some days it goes so fast. That, like the other day, it was like done at like 6:30 in the morning. I was like, whoa. And then other days it could be 8:30, sometimes 10:30, and then sometimes like 2:30 or 5. So, you know, I don't know. I would think that's something with YouTube. Oh, yeah, and also Twitter now. They came back and told me this morning that, nope, I am not allowed back on Twitter. So even before he owned it, and they denied all my appeals, and now he owns it, and he's the one who's out there promoting, like, oh, he's all about the free, you know, we all get the right to say something, right? And then he is, but, you know, and he's fired everybody. He's got all these new people. And they're still going into the appeal and saying, nope, I'm a bully. I'm a bully. Because, you know, I mean, it's a crime to say anything mean to politicians. And, you know, you certainly can't use Twitter's own gifts and, you know, give them a little visual to think about. But whatever. You know, it was more like I really don't have time to be going on Twitter on top of what I'm already doing, you know, with here and then TikTok. I don't even spend that much time on TikTok while I've been making all these blankets. I spend way more time just turn on a movie, sit here and chill. And except for Stella, it makes me get up all the time. And then just sit and crochet. And I got all of these different, I see everything as like a art creation. Now I'm getting all of these different visions of these different kind of blankets I can create and stuff. So I really think I'm going to do something like that and sell them. I want to get a farm. I want to get some sort of van. If that's still how we're traveling, I don't know. You know, I don't know what's going to go on. The technology is going to change. And there already we're putting up Tesla towers in Texas. So there could be some, you know, a big change of how we travel around that's going to be really quick. I don't know. So, but I want to travel around and see where it is I want to have a farm, because I think I want to be down south. And if everything is going to change and the kids can travel more, because they were so worried of me, I wanted to go down south before. And then they were so worried, you know, because my brain injury and being by myself and blah, blah, blah. And so now, you know, now I'm ready to move out of this area though. Like, I just know, like, but I wanted to travel around. And I was thinking if I travel around, I could go and, you know, sell blankets or something, like, you know, sit and make blankets and sell them. You know, I think it's a good living. I don't think anything's wrong with that. So anyways, I'll talk to you later.